Welcome to Lesson 9. In this lesson, we'll learn how to prepare a 3D character for animation using a process called rigging, which means adding a skeleton to your model so it can move. There are two main ways to rig a character. 1. Inside Naomi Animation, using the built-in auto rig tool or the Ready Player Me characters. 2. Externally using platforms like Adobe Mixamo, which is one of the best tools for rigging humanoid characters quickly and easily. In future lessons, we'll also explore how to rig using AI tools like Meshi or Tripio. Inside Naomi, you have two rigging options. 1. Auto Rig tool. Here's how to use it. Start by opening Naomi and creating a new project. Tap on the Import Asset icon, then select the Auto Rig option. You'll be asked to import your character. Make sure it's in GLB or FBX format. Once imported, Naomi will allow you to place joint markers on specific body parts. When you're placing joints in Naomi's Auto Rig tool, accuracy is key. First, make sure each joint is centered inside the mesh, not floating outside or too close to the surface. This is especially important for areas like the neck, elbows, and knees. These are critical bending points. If the joint isn't placed correctly, the limb will bend awkwardly or twist in the wrong direction. So before you place it, imagine the joint rotating. Think about which way the elbow or knee will bend, and position the joint right at that natural pivot. A small misalignment can cause big problems when animating. Also, don't rely only on the perspective view. Naomi gives you full camera control. So rotate around the character and check the placement from the front, side, and even top angles. Alright, now let's go step by step through the best way to rig a T-pose character. As soon as you import your character, switch to the orthographic front view. Don't use the regular perspective camera. It'll distort your joint placement. To get an accurate front view, click and hold the front-facing blue square on the viewport gizmo in the top right corner. This locks you into a true orthographic view. Now start with the head joint. Place it somewhere near the center of the head. Then move down and set the neck joint. Next, position the shoulder joint, followed by the elbow and then the wrist. Don't worry too much about the fingers. They're parented to the wrist and don't require precise placement right now. Just rotate them to match the pose roughly. Then, move to the core joint or pelvis, and from there, place the right hip joint. Naomi rigs the left side automatically based on symmetry, so you only need to set the right side. Continue down the leg with the knee, ankle, and finally the toe joint. Once you've aligned everything correctly from the front view, rotate the camera. Click on the side-facing square of the gizmo cube to snap into an orthographic side view. Here are some key tips for more realistic rigging. The hip joint should be slightly forward from the pelvis. The knee joint should also sit a little forward from the hip. And the ankle joint should be slightly behind the knee. This sets up the correct bending direction. Now for the arms, the side view isn't ideal for fine-tuning, so switch to the top view. Click the top-facing gizmo square to snap to orthographic top view. Here's the proper arm alignment. The shoulder joint should be centered in the mesh. The elbow joint should sit slightly behind the shoulder, and the wrist joint should be slightly in front of the elbow. This positioning tells Naomi which way the joints should bend, especially for critical areas like the elbows and knees. If the angle is off, the limbs may rotate incorrectly during animation. Next, click on Control Rig. If the result looks off, go back and adjust the joints. When satisfied, hit Rig, and Naomi will process the final skeleton. Important tip: your character should be centered and facing forward before rigging. If not, close the Auto Rig window, import the model into your scene. Realign it using the grid. Export it again, then re-import it into Auto Rig. Naomi doesn't handle A-pose characters well. It often misplaces the shoulder joints. So for now, always rig in T-pose. We'll cover how to convert A-poses to T-poses in a later advanced lesson. The second way of rigging inside Naomi Animation is using the pre-rigged character avatar builder, which we've discussed in the previous lesson titled Humanoid Characters. These avatars come pre-rigged, so once created, they're ready to animate right inside Naomi. But here's something important. If you use the online avatar creator on Ready Player Me's website, you'll get more customization options, like uploading a photo, changing body size, and access to a wider range of clothing. Once you're logged in and save your avatar online, it will sync with Naomi through the Ready Player Me plugin. However, there's a catch. Naomi does not carry over custom body sizes. Your bulky or short character will default back to the slim version in the app. Also, any outfits that aren't part of Naomi's built-in library will be replaced or excluded. So if you want to keep your avatar exactly as you designed it, you can download the avatar from the Ready Player Me website and import it manually into Naomi. Just note that this version won't support facial animation, but everything else, body motion, rigging, works perfectly. At the time I made this tutorial, the issue still wasn't fixed, but I've already flagged it to the Naomi Animation dev team, so it might be sorted by the time you're watching this. Now let's talk about rigging externally using Adobe Mixamo. This method is great if you have complex characters or need access to Mixamo's animation library. Log into Mixamo with your Google account or create one. Mixamo Character Interface. On the Mixamo website, 1. On the left, you'll find a list of pre-made characters, all textured, optimized, and ready for animation. 2. Simply click any character to select it, and Mixamo will load it into the animation view. 3. These characters are fully rigged and can be used directly. Important: these built-in characters retain their textures when imported into Naomi, but third-party characters from Sketchfab may lose their textures after rigging unless handled properly, which we'll cover in an advanced lesson. To use a pre-rigged character, log into Mixamo with your Google account. Click the Characters tab at the top left, scroll through, and pick the one you want. It will load into the preview display on the right side of the screen. Next, click the Animation tab. Choose any action or pose. On the right, you'll see sliders to adjust, overdrive, arm spacing, and trim. Some animations may also show extra settings, like stride or speed, depending on the type of animation you pick. Once you're happy, click Download. Choose FBX binary and keep the rest of the settings as they are. Then click Download. Now open Naomi, import the file, and click Save All. This brings in both the character and the animation. These characters also accept FBX animation files from Naomi's own library, so you can apply additional motions later if needed. Next, let's try rigging our own custom character using Sketchfab. Go to sketchfab.com, choose any character you like, and download it in FBX format. Some downloads may come as a zip file. These usually include texture files. Now head over to Adobe Mixamo, click Upload Character, and upload your model. Before the rigging process starts, Mixamo will load your character into a preview window. Sometimes the model might not be aligned correctly. It may be rotated or not facing the front. Use the on-screen arrows, vertical, horizontal, and rotation handles to adjust your character's orientation so it's upright and facing the camera. If your character appears textured in the preview, that's a good sign. It means the downloaded file likely includes the texture embedded and ready for Naomi. If not, you'll probably end up with a gray, untextured model after download. Next, place the 5 required markers: chin, wrists, elbows, knees, and groin. These guide Mixamo's auto-rigging system. Once placed, Mixamo will generate a preview animation. If anything looks off, you can go back and tweak the joint positions. Otherwise, click Next. You'll now have access to Mixamo's animation library. Pick an animation to test your rig. When you're satisfied, click Download. Select the format type to FBX binary. Click Download. Side note, some characters from Sketchfab are already perfectly posed for Mixamo. In those cases, Mixamo will auto-rig them instantly, skipping the joint placement step entirely. You can go straight to Animations and Export. Import your downloaded file into Naomi. You'll now have your custom character, fully rigged and ready to animate. Now, when selecting a character, note the following. Always go for a T-pose. A pose also works. Stick to humanoid characters. Wings, tails, or extra limbs won't rig properly. Avoid characters with action poses. Make sure there's space between the arms and legs. If the limbs are too close or touching, the rig might fail. Avoid props like hats, weapons, or gear. They interfere with rigging. And finally, check the mesh quality. Not too high, not too low. Keep it clean and efficient. Recap. So, in summary, use Naomi Auto Rig for fast, simple characters. Use Ready Player Me for quick avatars and facial animation. Use Adobe Mixamo for professional-grade rigging and animation. Both Naomi and Mixamo are powerful, but Mixamo is more accurate, especially for complex characters and animation. Before we wrap up, I came across an online avatar creator called Ava Turn. It syncs smoothly with Naomi's facial and FBX animation system. While the character style isn't as stylized or creative as Ready Player Me, it offers solid customization, something we might explore more in future lessons.